Hey, 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 I am Brianna Harmon, and this is the Millennial Mommies Club, an original podcast dedicated to all of the millennial mommies out there killing the game. Whether you are single, married, or expecting, this is the place to be during your 15 minutes of downtime. Welcome to the Millennial Mommies Club.
I'm a fun mom.
I am a patient mom.
I am a conscious mom.
I'm a creative mom.
I'm a millennial mom.
What's up, mamas, and welcome back to the Millennial Mommies Club on Ebony, covering Black America Podcast Network. We are joined here for another special episode, as you guys know, each and every Wednesday. But this one here, you guys may have seen her husband before on one of our previous episodes. Now we have the beautiful wife in our space, Miss Bri Feel, singer, songwriter, producer. Welcome to the Millennial Mommies Club.
Thank you for having me.
Yay. So, just first off, how are you doing as a mama right now? Let's start there.
It's a whirlwind, and I feel like it always will be. Especially, it's just so many emotions. It's the highs and the lows, and the learning.
Yeah.
The consistent unlearning and new learning that it provides as our dynamic shift, just me as a mom, me as a wife, and then him also as my son, and us coming into our different phases of life together. So
now you just spoke on a great part right here, as a mom, as a wife, and as just Bri herself.
Yeah.
That challenge, how do you pull and find time for balance with everything?
It requires me to be very intentional.
That's that word right there.
Yes, intentional. I'm consistently intentional this, intentional that. And also, luckily, just having a support system that I do. Because, with my husband being so accommodating, us serving in similar spaces in terms of operating within entertainment, but also, having other jobs that we do and just understanding what our goals are. And we've always had that alignment.
Yeah.
So, continuing to refresh on what we're trying to accomplish and be openly communicating those goals so that we can collaborate effectively.
Communication.
Yes.
That's the key.
Big time.
Is that the key to the happy marriage?
Yes. Yes. It's find you a dude who as women, I feel like we think innately we communicate better. We just do.
But sometimes
But then you find somebody who communicates better than you. So it's find that guy that communicates better than you.
That comes with some patience and hard work, though, to find that man, because it's trial and error. And then I also feel like sometimes with certain men, you find in different relationships, different perspectives of yourself that you may not have known you carried until you've met that man that touched that one button and you're like, ooh.
And it's also you think you're ready to be communicated with. Are you?
Are you really ready? Are you still kind of petty? I think I need to figure out where your weaknesses are.
Suddenly I need some growth.
Yeah. So, we know the motherhood journey is something that some people wish and pray and look forward to.
Yeah.
Did you always want to be a mom?
I did not think I was going to be a mom.
No.
Y'all, when I say I thought I was going to be a rich auntie, I knew I was going to be a rich auntie.
That is a goal. That is a goal of starting off, thinking about it that way.
I did because so many people in my life had children young, it just turned me off to it. It turned me all the way off. So I was like, nope, that's not for me. I am going to be that aunt, though. I'm going to be out here just taking care of all the little kids, and then I'm going to be in Greece. And
you can give them back. You just babysit, you can get those kids back. I have
we
fun.
Can't wait till rich auntie come back. No.
Yeah.
Here I am.
Okay. So what happened when you found out you were pregnant?
Oh, my gosh. It was a whirlwind of emotions because I found out I was pregnant because my best friend was pregnant, and we lived together. And
how? What?
And our cycles had synced up. Oh. And she was on her way out to work and was like, girl, I'm pregnant. I was like, girl, that's crazy. Oh, and then I started doing some math when she left the house, and I was like, wait.
I'm pregnant too.
Oh
my goodness.
Yeah.
So
it was crazy.
And you were how old when you found out?
What was I? 25?
25.
Did you? No, 20. About to be 26.
Okay.
No, I was 26.
Okay.
I'm lying. I was 26. I found out the weekend of my birthday.
Oh, so, at 26, did you think, I'm too young or what's going to happen? I'm not even in my career yet?
No, I knew I still had like some things I needed to accomplish. Too young, not necessarily, because I was like working in nonprofit as soon as I graduated as soon as I graduated college. So I was like decently in my career. I was comfortable. I was like, salaried already. In terms of just maturity though, because I hadn't seen myself as a mother. It was a lot to overcome mentally to adjust to the idea that I'm about to be responsible for someone's life. That's a lot.
And that's what I thought too, because when I found out I was pregnant, I was 20, I had 2 kids. I was pregnant in 2019. I was, I think, 24. I was 24 when I found out. So for me, I did feel like, you might have graduated college, you've done the things, you didn't have a baby in high school and stuff like that. You got done, right? You finished. But it was still that thought of, am I ready for this? Do I know what this is about to come with? Am I with the right person? Am I for sure that this is where I want to be in life right now? And I honestly questioned abortion. Like, I questioned, should I? Because I did not know if I was ready. Now, that's a sticky subject. Did you at any point think that?
I definitely feel like it crossed my mind, and less so because I didn't feel like I was ready. Like, I know me, and I know like I'm gonna make things happen. But like emotionally, it was just a lot. And then my husband being younger than me, it's like, okay, but is he ready?
Yeah.
Because this isn't something we planned, and so it's like, it's not just me, my decision, and my life that I'm impacting by making the decision to, move forward with this. It's like, it's your life.
Yeah.
And with you being younger than me, are you ready? Yeah. Are you comfortable? Do you feel like this is something that you can take on? So it was a lot. And me, I'm such a fixer for everyone else. It's like, if I fix this, it's not even just fixing it for me, it's fixing it for you.
Yeah.
And it's fixing it for other people in your life who are going to have opinions about whether or not you're ready and all of this. So it's a lot.
Man. And I think that's the hardest part, is the opinions, right? Trying to figure out, are they judging? Are they there to really support? Are they there to really be our backbone? So being that, your husband was younger, were there some challenges there that may have been between you two deciding like, okay, you say you're ready, but are you really ready? Yeah. Like, did he have any pushback in certain places?
Well, it was like, I feel like our age difference. I'm even still to this day like, are you sure you don't need to be in the clubs or something? Are you good?
Yeah.
I recognize that, our life, life happened to us.
And probably quickly.
And so it's like, he didn't push back. He's like, whatever decision you make, like, I'm here. And,
I love that.
And he was consistently supportive, never backtrack, never falter as a father or as my partner.
Yeah.
So, of course, there's some things both of us had to go through to mature and to come into the space that we are in now, where our marriage is, and just having a better understanding of people. But that's my friend. And so as my friend, he's like, I got your back.
Yeah.
And it never wavered.
I love that. Yeah. Now, did you experience any postpartum after having your son?
I in retrospect, I feel like that first month, yeah. And it was, and that's probably the scariest thing about thinking about having another one, because I'm such an advocate for mental health and understanding like where the different spaces I've lived in, just as a mother, and as a person. Coming to terms with any of my experiences, it's hard to think about putting myself in like that vulnerable space again, because I did struggle when he was first born. What
were some of the struggles?
I just felt like I lost myself. Like it was so many. He struggled to latch, and I was frustrated, and there was all these other things happening, and the loss of sleep, and the worried about, career, and worried about my husband and him trying to be there, but me knowing he also needed to be in other spaces, taking care of other things so that we're okay. And it's just like the challenge of finding like that balance, and it it didn't even matter how much support I had because I had it.
Yeah.
It was just like me and adjusting was so hard.
It is hard.
It was so hard.
I honestly tell moms the first 4 to 5 months is typically the hardest part because you're sleep deprived, your nipples are probably sore and bleeding, at least the first month for sure, and you are just out of whack.
Yeah.
You have no routine, you have no schedule, and that is where we cling on the most to our spouses, to most our family, to our friends, because I don't even know what day it is. I don't even know what the weather is outside because I haven't been outside. And if you had a black mama or a black grandma, it was like you can't go nowhere for 6 weeks. The air outside and make your body messed up. So you're stuck in the house for so long.
Oh my God.
Did you hear any of those little myths when you had your baby?
I'm sure I heard plenty of them. You know, we grow up with them.
Yeah.
It's like, so even if I didn't hear them, I knew them in passing from other people's experiences. And I think that's the hardest part too, is like everyone else has these like bylaws and these guidelines, and then you have your own like expectations of like how you want to be as a mom. And it's like I felt like what really made me struggle with it is the fact that I was constantly questioning myself as to, am I doing this right? Like, am I gonna mess this up? Am I gonna mess this little person up?
Yeah.
And I'm the type of person, I'm such a planner, and sometimes it's to a fault, like my perfectionism. If I don't think I can do it perfectly, I'm not even gonna take the risk.
Yeah.
And so like holding myself to these standards, and already, even though he's like 2 days old, thinking about breaking generational curses, I'm like, oh my God. Like,
yeah, no, I feel that.
What am I doing?
I thought that too, because I was like I knew, in my mind, I was like, I was bad as hell as a kid. So I was like, oh, I got 2 girls, mom, and they tell you your kid's gonna give it to you 10 times worse.
Oh my God.
So I'm looking at her at a week old, and I'm like, don't give it to me 10 times worse. Please be nice to me, because I'm scared. And you're a week old, so why am I even worried about that right now?
Like, it's not even that deep.
It's not even that deep. We got time. We're going to grow. I'm going to make sure you're set and you're good.
We're going to figure this out together.
But you made a good point when you said you did not know what like the perfect mom was or the way to do it, and there is no direction. You kind of just roll with it, and every day is something new, and that is kind of the good and the bad of motherhood, in my opinion. Because I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow, and then you see them grow, and now it's like, okay, now you went from not talking, not moving, not moving, but not talking and doing stuff to now you telling me my favorite color is red, or I want to wear those shoes today. They're like little people.
With whole opinions, with whole personality.
Does your son have anything that he's doing right now that's kind of like, ooh, little boy?
Oh, he has all the worst qualities of me. So it's like, that's what he's doing. He's literally being a me for me. And I'm like, wait a minute.
I can't take this.
Yes, the sarcasm, my mom used to be like, oh my gosh, you're so dramatic as a kid.
Yeah.
And it's like, I reeled it in because I'm an adult. I know how to deal with that.
Yeah.
But now I'm looking at the 5-year-old version of me where it's like, what? What did you say? But also I want to encourage. I was like, you want to encourage it?
Yeah.
It's certain things. But then it's also like, but wait a minute. Because I'm trying to gentle parent, but this chest check is waiting for you in about 5 years.
Not the chest check. I love that. I love that.
Oh my God.
But listen, I want to take a break. When we come back, we have the cookie jar, which is where some of our viewers have submitted questions for us to answer. But also I want to talk about just your career and how you are balancing that as a mom and some of those difficulties that you may face. So thank you guys for watching and joining us right now for the Millennial Mommies Club. We'll be right back after this.
You are listening to the Ebony Covering Black America Podcast Network.
Welcome back to the Millennial Mommies Club. We are here with Bri Feel, singer, songwriter, producer, and now it's time to get into our favorite segment, the cookie jar, which are questions that you guys have submitted. So also remember to submit your questions when you're done. But let's get into Bri's question today. Go ahead and pull from my jar.
I'm nervous.
See what we get.
Okay. I'm like, oh wait, trying to make this out.
Let's see.
What?
I got it.
I think
it's
daily.
Yep. What daily things and activities do you participate in that is self-care for you?
Oh, you know what? Honestly, that's something I've been challenging myself on because I do feel like, especially within like ever since COVID, more so than anything, life has been happening to me, and I don't really have enough things that I'm doing for myself.
Yeah.
Like even though my husband will be like, I'm taking him, do this.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Only do this for you. I still struggle with it. So I'm working on like coming up with things that are going to be more routine, that are going to just help me reset my day.
Yeah.
And, provide balance in my life.
What do you think the problem is, though, when sometimes our men say, go do something for yourself today, and we do the opposite? Or don't work today, and we work.
Hard-headed.
Hard-headed? Okay.
I'm hard-headed. I know I can be, and I'm just such a doer. Like, I watch my mom do. And so I've adopted that. Like, I feel like I should be doing this, doing that, doing this, doing that. And so I don't, prioritize myself all the time.
Yeah.
So, even when it's totally an option for me. But I'm working on it.
I think we also lose ourselves in this motherhood journey.
Oh, my gosh.
We get lost and caught up in pleasing everybody else, pleasing our kids, pleasing our husband, pleasing everyone but ourselves. And I recently had a conversation with someone who kind of made me feel like I was a bad mom because I was choosing to say I need a break. I need a break sometimes. Why does it have to be a problem to need and or want a break from our kids?
Yeah, and that's like, a lot of times that's coming from other women for me. It's like,
yeah.
It's like, especially if they've like raised their kids, it's like, well, I never took a break.
I get that. But that's not me.
That's not me.
And I've been told, honestly, it's the older generation who is kind of like, we didn't get breaks.
Right.
We never got a break from our kids. We worked all day, came home, got you, dealt with you. But that's not me and or maybe this new generation anymore. So why is it looked at as like a freaking
weakness?
A weakness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, if that was your experience, you don't have to take that out on me because you don't exactly seem happy about it.
Yeah. You holding this grudge pretty tight.
Right. It's like, okay, well, don't put me through it because you went through it. Like, if things are changing and balance is an option, let it be an option. And let people get the breaks that they deserve. So,
which now goes into my question with entrepreneurship and work. So as a mom, I feel like now we have this space where we are choosing ourselves and our careers, right? And if that means putting our kids in daycare, if that means bringing them to work when we have to, how do you balance being a songwriter, being a singer? And I mean, you've had major plays with being in The Shy. You had your song also in Sisters on BET. So to get to these certain levels, I'm sure that took time. I'm sure that took a lot of focus and like just figuring out how you're going to get that done. But how?
Really, it's been strategically operating with only certain types of people in my life. So choosing people that will give to me as much as I give to them.
Okay.
Because I'm a giver. And I'm gonna do for you. And I'm in a space in my life, and I have been for most of like my motherhood and wife journey and artistry journey, where it's a lot of people willing to do for me.
Yeah.
So it's like I have people I can call that will, keep him or even just bringing him into spaces. He's a super creative kid, and it's like, okay, well, he's a kid, but he can be here. He can learn. He can take it all in because why not? That's my baby. He's a part of this journey with me. And so, yeah.
But I feel like you also get talked smack about for doing that too. Because I felt it recently when I brought my daughters with me to a couple of award shows and a couple of things that I did over the last week. I got some backlash. I had some people that were saying, you took them to the award show with you? You had them sitting while you was working? It's like, I have no choice, number one. But number two, they were entertained. They were taken care of. They were fine. They're asking questions. They're seeing people. They're meeting people. You might not know who Charlamagne the God is at 3 years old, but you get a picture with him. You get to look back and say, wow, when you see him doing legendary things more than what he's doing. So I'm putting you in spaces to also give you exposure.
Yeah.
And the fact that I get mom shamed or talked about for doing that because I should have a babysitter, I should find a way, or I should turn some things down if I know I don't have the help. That's bull.
Yeah, because my baby gonna be my plus one.
Everywhere. Because when I get nominated somewhere, or when I'm on the big scene, my baby's still gonna be my plus one and go with me.
If daddy can make it, it's plus two. If daddy can't, it's a plus one. That's period. And I feel like it usually comes from people who don't serve in these spaces, though. So it's like, of course, you have your more traditional idea of how this should be, because you could never bring your child to work.
Yeah.
That's a you problem. But me?
Yeah. And even, I would say this also goes back to the way that we parent as the moms and how people look at us and have opinions. Because I think Ari, Moneybag Yo's girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, whatever they are now, she brought her son to her birthday party. And it was in a club. And it was, why would you bring your baby to a club for your birthday? But it was a rented out club that she had a party and had her baby there. You feel like she was wrong in that sense?
I feel like it was a controlled environment, and if she controlled the environment and that's what she felt comfortable doing, and nothing happened to her within this environment,
well, why is
then
it a
that's
problem?
her business. It's no different than renting out an event space.
That's what I thought.
So because we go to weddings, some weddings allow kids and all kind of stuff be all kind of stuff be shaking and other things.
And going up under dresses and all types of stuff.
Because you know how we get down at weddings.
So
it's like, what's the difference?
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. But I also want to talk about another controversial situation that I just watched this morning. So, Blue's Clues, there was an episode, and the mom said she was watching. She wasn't really watching it. She was listening. They were talking about a parade. So she turns around and looks at the TV, and it's a pride parade that's on Blue's Clues, and her son is 4. How do you feel about kind of bringing the LGBTQ community into our kids' spaces at such young ages right now?
I don't feel much about it because the LGBTQ is already in spaces in my life. Like I live in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like my son was just at his friend's house. He has 2 dads. Like I have people in my family who identify with that community. So it's like, you know, I understand people wanting to maybe beat people to the punch in terms of having those conversations. So when it's presented on TV before you can have those conversations, it may present challenges. But what I found with my son is I don't think we give kids enough credit for understanding. Like a lot of times we make it more complicated than it is. Because I've had conversations like, okay, TT Roro is now just Roro. Just Roro. Roro.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
We don't have to have much more of a conversation than that. And so it's really sometimes us that complicates those things. But I also think we get a lot into they're not ready to have that conversation yet. And sometimes they are. Because I tell you, when they go to these schools, they already having the conversations. Yeah. And that's why I feel like beating them to the punch. But I also struggle with that because I don't know when is it too soon. So like you said, you don't give them the benefit of the doubt that they already know or that they're exposed to it. But I question it myself because my girls are 2 and 3. And I'm like, when do I expose them to those conversations without it being too soon? So I don't even know if it was a video or whatever it was. And I think it's a layered conversation. So that first layer, when you're 3, it's like if I were to try to explain to you physics at 3, you're not going to understand it anyways. Yeah. So I have to only give you as much as you ask for, really. If they ask the question or if something is, you know, worth having the most basic level, hey, you're a 3-year-old conversation, you just leave it at that. Yeah. If they ask more questions, then you answer those questions at that 3-year-old, 4-year-old, you know, understanding. I think we have to have like, like this is here's anatomy and show like this is a diagram. This is a diagram. That's your areola. That is called this. Like, no, not that really deep. Yeah. Take a step back, and it's like literally just give it to them, spoon feed it to them at the way that they can consume it.
I take that because I guess I was thinking I gotta give a whole
That's me
PowerPoint, and I'm trying to create a PowerPoint in my head. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start here, and then I'm gonna go here, and then I'm gonna hope you understand that to go there, instead of just keep it on the surface layer.
Yeah,
and that's enough. So we've had a lot of fun here with the conversation, but there's also some dark moments that come to motherhood. And I want to know, what have you experienced alone on this journey? Because there's some things that I would say I've experienced, from postpartum depression to suicidal thoughts to my separation and trying to figure out what is my worth, what is my value. Do I need to stay for my kids or should I go? It gets bumpy and it gets dark. What are some of those moments that you've experienced?
Well, I've consistently, I would say at least since I was 13, struggled with suicidal ideation and things like that. So I'm always talking about mental health, and it's I don't get to talk about it because I figured it out now. I still don't have it figured out.
Yeah.
I've been doing good in terms of feeling lighter since about April, but it's it could. You lose people, things change, and then you're right back in those weird spaces.
Yeah.
And so it's always a consistent struggle to, fight for yourself. And especially me, because I'm so empathetic. So when I think about this world and where it is and where it's going, and sometimes I feel guilty that I had a son. And I've written about that. It's I'm apologizing to you because I almost feel like having kids in this world is a selfish decision, because it's so weird and it's so scary. Yeah. And I have a struggle coming to terms with the fact that I've brought you into this.
Wow.
But it's that's what keeps me here, because it's okay, well, I brought you into this knowing it's messed up. Now I have to stay. So I have to keep fighting for myself, and I have to keep, fighting for my mental health and doing whatever I can to help you for as long as I can.
Yeah.
Take you through this. So
that's deep, because I think that's also a problem that we have, or maybe a thought process that we have when having kids. What's about to happen? Am I ready to actually raise you? Am I built the way I want to be built, to be able to show you the ways and the ropes of this world when they are so dark right now? You're a kindergarten having to prep yourself to go to class, and you may have a shooter come in. How do you prepare for that?
Right.
In kindergarten, you never thought about that day in your life when you was in school. Now you have to prepare. They're giving bulletproof backpacks.
Yes.
Makes no sense. And I have to bring my kid into this world,
Yes.
And that's just kid, right? But we're not talking about I can't go to the mall without being fearful. Linux has a freaking machine you have to go through and check your bags to see if you're going to bring a gun inside of the store.
Right.
So the fact that I'm bringing you into this world, that was deep to think about. I have to stay. I have to fight for you because I brought you through.
Right.
And now you're my responsibility.
I have to protect you.
In
order for me to protect you, I have to be here.
Yeah, very true. Now, as a wife, I know there also are some difficulties there when you're thinking about, can I still be there for him? Am I there for him? Am I asking him, is he okay? Am I checking on him as my husband? What are some of those challenges that you have being a wife? Separated from just Bri, separated from being a mom?
So with him, it's it's an interesting space, because he's a me for me in a lot of ways. And so it's when you combine someone who's equally as giving as you are, you do have to be more intentional about checking in. When they say check on your strong friends, check on your strong husband.
Yeah.
Because he, as much as he communicates, I know he also understands that my empathetic nature, I'll take on that. And so even, I think about, we had a miscarriage in 2020. And so it's that was one of the only things we went through together where it's is he okay?
Yeah. Because
I know I'm not. And I know you're trying to be strong for me, and I'm crying randomly in the kitchen, and you're hugging me, but it's are are you okay when you go get in your car? Are you doing all right when you are riding to the studio after you see me go through this? Or, you know, even on your own terms, how are you dealing with this? And so it can present its challenges because you just never know until somebody tells you.
Yeah.
But it's for me, it's just been about being super intentional. Like we have a journal that we haven't been doing as good with, but you can just write anything.
Wow.
Whatever you're feeling about what happened. Maybe it was something between us that you want to like just
jot down.
Yeah. Maybe it's something where it's like, okay, well, if it's been a minute since we needed a date night and we just need to connect, it's like, I really miss you. Maybe we can do something on the da-da-da-da-da.
So do you read it? Like, do you just open it randomly, or does he tell you, I wrote in the journal, go read it?
No, like we haven't been as consistent, and it's crazy because I think about the journal because I just read it the other day.
Oh.
And it was a note from like July when he was about to meet me in Paris, and he wrote like, I can't wait to see you in Paris.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
I was just like, I love that it's so randomly timed because it's like, dang, I might have needed that day. Like, I'm glad you didn't tell me. I'm glad I just found it.
Wow.
Because, you know,
it means more. It means more to be able just to have that little random act of kindness in a notebook to be able to look back on. Now, I know this is stepping back a second, but you said something that women deal with, miscarriage. That is on the same level as like having an abortion, right? And losing that baby. Chrissy Teigen opened up about hers, you know, in her situation with John Legend when she had the miscarriage, which is now she's claiming this is an abortion that happened. But I don't think we talk about that as much in that mental health space that we go through having something traumatic like that happen. How did you get out of that dark space, or are you still dealing with that?
I say, you know, in April, I keep saying in April, my weight was lifted, and it really was like me and my faith. So I just had like a spiritual moment in April, and I just asked for it to be removed, like literally. And I don't ask for a lot.
Yeah.
And I've, even just as a child, I've never asked people for a lot. I don't ask for a lot of help. But I literally had to, like, cry out for help because it was, like, so hard to operate in spaces as, like, the strong person and the happy person. So that's what it came down to for me. Like, I've had the support, I've had everything else. So if it had to be that, it had to come to that. And I say, I feel like I'm doing good. I haven't cried in so long. And, like, it's crazy because I've been wearing my not crying as, like, a badge of honor. It's like, Bri, you haven't been crying in so long about this. Like, you've been doing so good. And so it's like, I'm almost mad at myself that I'm crying now. But it's like, I have to know that, like, that's just a part of it.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And sometimes letting that piece out is truly what releases it from you to even think about it as much and or not necessarily suppress, but release. Like, you have to let those emotions out. You have to let that pain out. And that's why I say we don't talk about that, you know? And that's a subject that becomes very emotional because you don't know why you lost that baby. You got to do nothing but pray to God and thank him for whatever reason it was. And now look forward to the next one. You know what I mean? And the next opportunity. But I just commend your strength to be able to push through that and love on your baby boy even more because now you're like, I can predict that you're more thankful and appreciative of his life.
Oh, yeah.
Now, did you release on your own or did you go to the hospital? How did that?
It was, and I think that was like one of the hardest parts, which I feel like, you know, I'm crying now, but it's like, I really do feel like it's more so happy tears because I'm thinking back and it's where I was versus where I am now. And it's like, thank God. But with my miscarriage, I think it was harder to get over it because it all happened so quickly. And so I convinced myself I shouldn't even be sad because I found out I was pregnant like on a Thursday. I was miscarrying by Monday.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, okay, well, some people carry to full term and have a stillbirth. Some people are like, they already know the gender. Some people, you know, I'm sitting here essentially invalidating my own experience because it's like, oh, girl, that was that was barely a baby.
Right.
But it's still
a baby.
It was still hard. It was still hard because it's like, you know, you wrap your mind around that idea, and then it was, so it literally was just, I was pregnant on Thursday. I was not about to be pregnant by Monday. Yeah, and going to the doctor and them monitoring my levels, and is this what's happening? Yeah, this is what's happening. So now we need to monitor you a little bit more. And it was a challenge because I just didn't want to talk to people about it because it's like they didn't know anyways.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, they didn't even know you were pregnant.
Right.
So just
don't even say nothing about it. But then that also is a thing where now you're suppressing your feelings and trying to hide that emotion because no one else knew.
And everyone is asking me, where is baby number 2? That's the hardest part now. Because, like, I did make it public at one point, and it's like, even then, still, people are like, that boy need a playmate.
Yeah,
I'm like, y'all.
Do you not know what I just went through and or scared to even try again?
Right.
Because that would be my fear,
right,
to try again, because I don't know what could happen or what happened in that one that I needed to do differently. Because I think our first idea is it's my fault. What did I do wrong? Did I drink? Did I smoke? Did I hit something the wrong way? Did I do something I wasn't supposed to do to keep this baby alive? Which will now put fear in my heart to try again because I don't know what step I need to move differently and not let it happen again.
Exactly.
Wow.
And, like, as someone who controls things, I felt like my body betrayed me. And so it's like, how do I control this?
Yeah.
Because I control, like, it's my body. You mean to tell me I can't successfully carry that baby? And now I can't, you know, because there was a period of time where I was like trying. Like, but like not trying, but like I'm trying.
Yeah.
You think like it's just a random Tuesday.
Right. No, I know what a day is. Yeah, I want some now because I know it's about to pop off.
And then I had to reel it in because I was like, I know I can.
Yeah.
I can control this. I can do it.
Yeah.
And then I had to just like let it all go.
And guess what? Let him do it.
And let him do it. And let him do it. And so, and there's peace in that because it's not in my hands.
Yeah.
If it never happens, it never happens.
Yeah.
It never happens. And that's okay.
Wow. Bri, thank you so much for just like opening up, sharing your journey, sharing your experiences, sharing your husband a couple weeks ago on our show. And I mean, I just like wish you so much success, so much peace and happiness on this journey as a mom and as Bri herself, as wife and everything that you have coming to you. Please let them know where they can follow you to support your music and see what's coming next. Please share with us.
Yes, so Bri Feel, you can find me on all social media platforms, BRI_FEEL, and my single Offline is available on all platforms as well, Bri Feel.
Yay! Well, mamas, thank you so much again for just joining us at another episode of the Millennial Mommies Club. We'll see you next week on Ebony covering Black America Podcast Network.